Today's Alfie Jameson's time. It's his time. You know, there are too many slaves. There's a lot of these people. I'm not, Hebrews, too many of them. So he goes, let's get rid of some. And he sends out people to kill the babies. And his mum, Moses' mum, mind you, goes, uh-oh, you know, no, I don't want my baby to die, right? So she decides, let's put the baby in a basket, send it down the river. That doesn't seem like a great idea, but that was her idea, right? Anyone want to guess which river it was? Anyone? Anyone?
Nile.
Someone said, oh, okay, I heard a lot of these.
Amazon.
It's close. Well, it was actually the St. John's River. No, wait. No, that's in Florida. Never mind. I think someone said the Nile. I think that's closer. Anyway, so they go. So he's going down the river, right? And he happens upon, right, little baby, you know, something on his thumb, Moses, stumbles upon a princess. In fact, you know, Pharaoh's daughter, right? Just, and she's like, oh, this little baby in a basket. This is horrible. And this, let's get that out, right? You know, let's keep that baby, right? And so she goes, she says to Pharaoh, Pharaoh, please, can I keep this little baby? It's adorable, I want it, right? I want it, please, Daddy, please. And Pharaoh goes, whatever my daughter wants, right? All that, you know. And so he becomes part of the family, part of the royal family. Which means that he gets all the amenities and great things that come along with being the Prince of Egypt, which is the name of a movie which that's referenced. Anyway, so he becomes part of the family, and for a long time he doesn't even know where his origins came from. Right? He's part of the family. So eventually he finds out, wait, I'm a Hebrew. Which means he's been living in the upper class when really he's part of the lower class, right? So one day he's walking along, you know, just walking along like Moses would, and he sees one of his fellow Hebrew men being beaten by a slave driver, right? And he goes, oh no, you know. So he walks up and he goes, you know, he gives him the old 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You know, he's punching him, right? He goes to town on the slave driver. No beating on my Hebrew man, right? None of that. So he beats him up to the point that he's dead. Which is bad for Moses, right? Because he just killed a guy, right? And he goes, oh, I get out of town. I've got to get out of Dodge, right? So he gets on his horse and he gets out of there. Now, by this time, anyone want to guess how old Moses is by the time he leaves Egypt?
14.
14?
17.
It's close. It's close. No,
30.
No, it's actually 40. He was 40 years old. Yeah, really old guy at this point. Yeah. So he leaves and he wanders around the desert, and he's just wandering for a while. And he stumbles again. There's a lot of stumbling for Moses. He does a lot of oh, what's this? And he finds a burning bush, which is that's not necessarily odd, I guess. It's a bush that's burning, right? But it's also God's talking through it, so that makes it a bit like, oh, I should probably pay attention then now. So he walks up to it and he's like, what's going on here? And God, God says, in his God way, Moses, Moses, and Moses probably goes, what is it, God? And God goes, I want you to set my people free. And Moses goes, okay. I don't think that's me. I don't think I should do that. That's probably not my game. I tend to stumble over my words. Because that's how he talked. But Moses tend to have a little stutter, right? And so he goes, I can't really, I can't talk. So a lot of that. And God says, actually, I just told you to do something. You should probably do it because I'm God and I told you to do it. I tend to know everything. And all that stuff. And Moses is like, okay, fine. So he goes in, and he goes into Pharaoh, of course. And by this time, by the time he comes back, anyone want to guess, once again, how old he is?
100.
It's so close. He's 80.
Oh,
that's old. He's no spring chicken anymore, right? He just he comes here as an old guy. He's probably like you know, when he has a staff, he actually needed that staff, you know. It wasn't for decoration, right? So he comes, and also, not to mention, he's very beardy at this point. You know, he's probably rocking like one of these, you know. Like, he's like really going down, you know. He's got a serious beard growing, because you know, I'm gonna go, because you know, you've got to have the beard in that time. But anyway, so he goes in and he goes, Pharaoh, hey, what's going on? Just wanted to say, could you maybe let my people go, right? But he probably didn't say it a lot like that. He probably said it more like, let my people go, you know, better, you know, how you would say it, like in that situation, you know, let my people go, you know, like he got in there. And Pharaoh goes, no, I'm not going to do that, because they're the backbone of our economy, you know, it's a whole lot of things, I'm probably not going to let them go, it's a whole, you know, it's a whole lot of problems that happen once I immediately let go of all the slaves. And Moses goes, okay, well then, let's start the plagues. And so they start the plagues. And the first plague was not, you know, he turns the river, right, the Nile, right, yeah, because we talked about that, into blood. So there's that. And the thing about that is that the Nile was like the bloodline, get it, of Egypt, right? It served the entire country. It was extremely important. So the minute it was turned into blood and they fished it and everything, and all the fish died because it was now blood, you know, they can't use it. So that's bad, right? Then there's, you know, raining, some of the good ones, raining frogs, locusts, boils. Which, by the way, raining frogs, I just want to go back to that, right? Has anyone ever seen it raining frogs? It was raining frogs. It wasn't like they were coming from everywhere else, right? Which means that, like, what? They came from like a frog cloud, right? That's what I picture. Like, it's a green cloud floating over, right? But so then, you know, all these things happen. And finally, it gets to the point where Moses and after all these plagues, Moses goes in and goes, hey, let my people go. Let my people go. Come on. I'll stop the plagues. We'll make this end. And every time Pharaoh goes, you know, like, you know, and so finally he goes, all right, fine. I'm gonna have to drop the bomb then. I'm gonna, you know, firstborns will have to die, right? That's how it happened. It'll be, you know, it's not gonna be fun. The firstborns of everything, you know, the animals, the people, they'll die unless you let my people go. But God hardened Pharaoh's heart, and Pharaoh goes, no. You know, you got all steely, or you know, no. You know. So Moses goes back, and God speaks to him and says, hey, this is what you're going to do. The angel of death's going to come down and take the firstborns, right? So to prevent this, you will take a lamb, a pure lamb, right? And you will sacrifice it and take its blood and put it on the doorpost, on the sides and on the top, right? Which will, when the angel of death comes, it will pass over your house, right? Jewish holiday. And then so when the angel of death came, passed over the Hebrews' houses and not the Egyptians' houses, I guess, yeah. And so basically, Moses comes in and goes, after all this, and goes, hey, let my people go. And Pharaoh's like, you know what? Yes, I don't want to see you ever again. I don't want none of this, you know. So they leave. But Pharaoh, you know, he's made an executive decision, right? You know, I'm letting the slaves go. This makes sense, you know. Decision made. I'm not going to turn back on this. Yes, I am. And he goes, let's get the whole army together. Let's get them back. So they chase the Hebrews all the way to the Dead Sea. I'm sorry, not the Dead Sea. That's a different sea. They chase them all the way to the... Which sea, guys? Which one? That's it. That's it. I thought it was the Blue Sea for the longest time. Turns out it's not. And so chasing the Red Sea. And the Red Sea, which is giant, it's a sea, right? They get there and they go, all right. They get there probably. So we're being chased by all those, the army then? Chariots and the like? We're at a sea and we don't have boats. Does anyone have a plan? No one. So Moses is like, oh, he's at the top of this ladder, and he goes, okay, well, let me talk to God real quick. And God goes, all right, but I'll give you the power, you know. And he, you know, does his thing, you know, when the sea parts, which is, you know, a big, you know, spectacle, I imagine. And the whole of the Hebrews all go through the sea, right? In the two walls of water, right? That are just about to crash down, and, you know, I imagine it's like, the whole time. So they finally, and they walk all the way through, and then, finally, so they get on the other end, they're like, ah, we did it, you know, like that. You know, and then, you know, of course the Egyptians go, oh, the sea's parted. Let's just go right through then, you know, this is good. So they just start walking through and like, this is great, this will be a lot faster than going around, right? Yeah, this is good. And they get about midway through, and at this point all the Hebrews are out, and then, you know, lots of tumbling water and all the you know, all that, right? You know, lots of that. And then, and so they all die. Yeah. Right, yeah, I heard a yay. Yeah. Yay! Dad! And so yeah, so they all die, and then so that's basically, and you know, after that it was, you know, a whole wandering in the desert for another 40 years, and 10 commandments and all that stuff. But you know, we're not going to get to that. Is that important? I don't know. Is that important? That's it? Alright, well, I guess we'll get that later then. Huh? So, yeah, Moses, right?
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have you got it, mate?
You had a whole hour.
I'm going to go.
Alright. Thanks a lot.
It's actually this way.
Okay. Very good. That was really fun. Alright, so that's the story of Moses. I hope you guys enjoyed it.